Breaking news in the trial for the man accused of killing an 8-year-old boy.
A judge found Brian Coulter guilty of capital murder for the death of Kendrick Lee. Court documents show the child was beaten to death and his body was found decomposing right in the apartment where his siblings were living back in October of 2021. So here's what attorneys for the defense and prosecution said today in court.
Over the weekend, I was cutting through our Crimes Against Children division, and I was struck because there's a poster I hadn't noticed there before. It says, "Every child deserves to grow up with love and care." And it really struck me in that moment that not only did Kendrick Lee not have the love and care he needed, but he didn't even have the opportunity to grow up. He didn't have the opportunity to grow up because of this man and his actions. The moment that Brian Coulter entered into his life, that was putting Kendrick Lee on a collision course for his own death.
With regards to striking the complainant with or against a blunt object, I don't believe there's any testimony that would show or prove any of that, or that he even threw Kendrick with his hand. I don't believe there was any testimony or evidence to show that he choked the complainant by some unknown means. Neither of the three children, especially the two that indicate they were in the room when they observed Mr. Coulter assaulting Kendrick, testified that they observed him choking the complainant in any way or shape or form.
Courtney Fisher has been monitoring the trial every step of the way, certainly today as well. Joining us live from the courthouse in downtown Houston, Courtney, this was a verdict that came back in about 20 minutes after everything concluded in the courtroom.
Yeah, that's right, Jonathan. I want to stress that. It only took the judge 20 minutes or so to decide that Brian Coulter was guilty of killing 8-year-old Kendrick Lee. I've never seen a verdict come back that quickly, frankly. And remember, there was no jury, so it was the judge who decided he was guilty. She said after listening to 3 long days of testimony, it was clear in her mind the 34-year-old man killed his girlfriend's son. You're about to hear from Judge Kelly Johnson as she addressed Coulter directly, and I have to tell you, it was a very powerful moment in court. I want you to watch Brian Coulter as he sat there in his yellow jumpsuit, no reaction at all when she said this.
I've seen everything. I thought I'd heard everything. I actually thought I'd gotten pretty good at compartmentalizing things that occur up here when I go home to my own family and my own life. But that stopped with this case. This is probably one of the most horrific set of facts that I have ever had to witness, to listen to, and to imagine. And especially as the fact finder on a capital murder, when I had to painstakingly listen, take notes, as both sides deserve, to be fair, and to go over every single one of those exhibits, along with listen to your voice, to Gloria Williams' voice, and to Jordan's voice. And sir, those children have haunted me this last week.
And so Coulter will spend the rest of his life in prison, guilty of capital murder. Guys, he has no parole. The judge also said this to him. She said, "When you're in prison, I hope the boys," meaning those surviving brothers, "who haunted me will haunt your mind for the rest of your life." I want to mention his attorneys, by the way, declined to talk to us after the verdict, but we already know they have filed an appeal. That is usually the process of how it happened. Coming up at 6, guys, you're going to hear from those 2 prosecutors who now, for the first time, were able to speak about the case after getting that guilty verdict. We'll send it back to you.
Courtney, I know we all felt the same way as the judge did in terms of relaying having to take in this case. What for you was the key point that prosecutors made to secure the capital murder verdict?
Yeah, you know, Jonathan, of course you couldn't escape the testimony of those 3 brothers. It was so powerful and difficult to listen to them on the stand recount being abused by Brian Coulter. The 2 younger ones said that they actually saw Coulter kill Kendrick Lee, beat him to death with, I think, what was the most poignant thing about this case, a Spider-Man figurine. I mean, reminding you that these are just children and the abuse they suffered, now possibly getting justice, guys.
Yeah, Courtney, this is definitely one of those cases that really, really does just hit you in a different way. I know we saw video of Coulter and he always looked so stoic. You were in the courtroom. At any point in time, did his demeanor change?
Not at all, guys. He sat there the entire time. Remember, testimony, 4 days we saw him last week and, of course, today. No reaction from him at any time. At one point, his attorney asked him if he wanted to testify. We reported on this earlier. That was the only time I actually heard his voice. He said simply no. That was it. No reaction. And obviously, when listening to what the judge had to say, it was pretty shocking. He had no reaction then as well.
Closure, fortunately, at least a measure of it for everyone involved. Courtney Fisher reporting. Courtney, thanks so much.